Hi guys, and welcome to another kit review. Hope everyone is fit and well. Alright, it has been a challenging year this year, hasn't it? 2020, by the way. Anyway, let's have a look at another kit. Today we're having a look at a kit from Bronco. It is a kit number CB35019, 1/35 scale, French Hotchkiss light tank, H38 39. Okay, so this kit came out in 2008. It is a rebox of an initial release in 2006. Okay, so it is actually a Hotchkiss H35, H38 39. So Hotchkiss 35s initially came out with a short 37mm gun, then they went to a long 37mm gun, and there's been a lot of confusion since these tanks were first built in late 1930s as to the H38 39. So basically H38 was the factory designation for the tank. H39 was the official French military designation for the tank, but it got confused and appeared under H35, H38, 39 through all the paperwork. So that's where the confusion comes from. So basically it is a H35 Hotchkiss light tank, two-man tank, very little tank, okay. Originally intended as a infantry support vehicle. The infantry didn't like it. French infantry didn't like it because it had steering problems on rough terrain, which they thought would endanger accompanying troops. It also had poor gearbox and brakes, so the French cavalry took it on. Now, I don't think they really had a choice because they were already in production, and the French cavalry thought, we'll take it because we'll just be travelling on roads, not thinking that this is actually a tank that's supposed to go across country. Anyway, and besides which, cavalry vehicle, I think it only did around 28-30 kilometers an hour maximum speed. It's about 17 miles per hour for those of you who use the old style. Okay, so anyway, enough of me rambling. Let's have a look at the box. Nice paper, nice cover art. Two H35s, obviously going through a French town, being waved to and saluted by French civilians on their way to the front. First tank is called Le Leopard, which is basically the leopard. So yeah, that's nice. I like that artwork. Okay, so let's have a look at the side. So, usual 14+ warning, decals by cartograph, decal sheet, photo etch, chain, springs for the suspension, and it looks like a metal gun barrel. That's not bad. Bronco's address in Hong Kong, and on the other side we have got H39 long barrel 37, H38 short barrel 37. So this is April 1940. Basically both vehicles are April 1940 or 1940. Just different units. Okay, and plastic model kit for adult collector only. So that's the box. Pretty straightforward. Like I said, nice artwork. Alright, so let's have a look and see what we've got. Usual glossy instructions from Bronco. And first sprue out is one bag only, the hull and turret, tools, exhausts and fittings. Even a I can't remember what they call those, went on the back of French tanks, something to do with anti-trenching and getting bogged or something, and the gun. Okay, so that's the first one. I must look that up. And the second bag has the wheels, what looks to be an engine. So we do have internals. Okay, yep, definitely. There's your radiator. There's your main bogie supports. And little handles and things like that. Okay, so next bag is, so there's only one of these fronts will go on this particular tank, but they are all for the front of a Hotchkiss. Mudguards, what looks like possibly drive sprocket. Okay, so that's all that's in that particular bag. Next bag is, here we go, so Commander's cupola, and this looks like, yes indeed, it definitely looks like the main gun. Okay, and a couple of hatches. That's interesting. I wonder where they go, because this cupola didn't have a hatch on it. Anyway, so that could be spare parts for possibly a German version, because the Germans replaced this with a opening hatch. Okay, so that's that sprue. As you can see, these are individual track links, and they are quite tiny, so you're going to need a lot of patience to put those together. Alright, so that's in that bag, 2 sprues of that. And then we've got one bag which contains very comprehensive decals and the photo etch, springs for your suspension, chain, and yes, a metal gun barrel. That would probably be for the long 37. Okay, and that's one there is the last out of the box. So in a second we'll have a look at the instructions and I'll get rid of this. Okay, so here we are back. Let's have a look at the instructions. Okay, so you've got your box art, and then you have here English, German, Chinese, basic history of the H35, how many were actually made. So this says that the German Army salvaged 821 H35s. That would be of varying types. Okay, so yes, it does say H38 by Hotchkiss, often known in service as the H39 on here. So that's where the confusion is. So it can be called the H35, H38, or H39, depending on which book you're reading and which authority you're listening to. So none of them are wrong. They're all the same tank. It's a Hotchkiss H35, 38, 39. Okay, so let's have a look inside. Usual warnings: how to apply the decals, cut this, remove this, open a hole. There's your colour callouts. Okay, so you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 colours. Hobby colour, Mr. Hobby, Humbrol and Tamiya. So if you don't use any of those, like I use Vallejo, but I already have their French tank colours, so that's all you've got to do is just do an internet search, have a look at your paint manufacturer's codes and match it up with these and you'll be fine. Okay, so next we've got your sprue layout. Okay, so fairly comprehensive. It is a small tank, but there are a few small parts in here. Decals, I believe decals will cover 5, possibly 6 different tanks. There are decals in here for a German variant as well. Okay, so as you can tell, the dark areas, okay, they're parts that can be discarded. Alright, so we start off with, and yes, here we have gearbox, engine. Alright, so that's good. So now we have an interior on this tank. I love that. Even though you may not be able to see it. Oh, actually you will if you have the back commander's hatch open, you'll be able to see inside. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see the engine though, so that may mean maybe leaving the engine hatch open. So, engine, there are colour callouts in the actual colour, steel, burnt iron, as we go through, so that will make it easier, flat white, etc. Driver's seat controls going into the hull bottom, engine, gearbox. Right, so front and hull goes on. This is fairly straightforward. It's a small tank, so although it will be a little bit complex in parts, most of it is fairly straightforward. So this, we get to the road wheel assembly, and this is where the spring comes in. As you can tell, it goes between these parts here, which go into the bogies, and that's the whole of the bogie system. You make 4 sets of those. Alright, attach them to the hull bottom, and then you've got your main idlers and your drive sprockets, and it does have a fairly good interior, so you will probably see that, or at least most of it, which is the driver's compartment, but possibly not the engine, so we'll have to have a look at that. And then we get to the tracks, which will be click together and glue. So they are quite small, so a lot of patience required on the tracks, but at least it will give you track sag. Then the top hull goes on, and the mudguards, tools, and then you carry on. So now you've got your front hatch, driver's hatch. This is the back part that goes on it. Stop the tank from, or to assist the tank in crossing trenches, etc. A lot of French tanks had these. Exhaust pipes. So that is an option. You don't necessarily have to put it on this tank. It was always an option on a lot of tanks in the French Army. So you'll see some with, some without, depending on what they were going to be used for. Tools are going on, and then we get to the turret. Now, you do have a choice here of the short or the long 37mm gun. The turret has really nice gun details, some details inside. Now, I believe most of the time the commander sat outside on the back hatch, so you could see what's going on. Once he was inside, there wasn't much he could see apart from what's his vision slits, which were very tiny. Okay, so that's the turret done. And after that, here we have it. Turret goes on, and as you can tell, you do get a choice here. So when after the Germans captured these, they didn't like this setup, didn't like the back hatch, so they cut the top off and put 2 opening hatches on here. So if you're going to have a German version, you'd be using this particular option. Okay, and after that, it's just the back goes on, and that's an option as well, like I said. Although if it's in here, and it is quite complex in this kit, you might as well fit it. And the turret goes on, and she's done. Basically, this gives you, I'm not quite sure, that says kit not included, Rob tooling. I'm not quite sure what they mean by Rob tooling, so that'll be something I'll have to have a look at. Alright, so obviously the French version's got it. It looks possibly like the aerial or something like that. Anyway, so that will mean I'll have to study that a little bit better. Okay, so then we get on to the colour guide. So you've got overall olive green, France, May 1940, so it's the French one. German Army, all over dark grey. And then 3 more French ones. Okay, all 1940 cuirassiers. Okay, so this is all France 1940, and the bottom one is H39 German Army, Norway. Yes, they did send these up to Norway when they invaded. I have seen pictures of British troops in Norway actually having a look at these. Might even dig some out to show you in the review. Okay, so that's the instructions. In a second, we'll have a look at the sprues. Okay, so time to have a look at the sprues. First off, we will have a look at the decals. Okay, so decals are fairly straightforward and clear. Very good quality individual numbers. Okay, like I said, you do have German and French. Okay, so depending on what card shape, that just tells you which vehicle it is in the unit. Okay, so really nice tricolors, number plates. So yep, register looks good, look very sharp. So that's the decals. So next we've got, and I'm not going to open these, and I see I'll put these on the back of the decals actually, so you can see them, including this little beastie. There we have it. Yep, almost lost it, guys. Alright, don't know if you can see it. That is the metal gun barrel that you get with the kit. Okay, I'm going to put that away so I don't lose it. Chain and springs for your suspension. I'll give you a still of all this anyway, so you can have a really nice look at it. And then the important thing is the photo etch. Again, really nice plastic covering on both sides. Some very fine photo etch parts in here, so you will need to use a bit of care to take them off, but will definitely enhance this little tank immensely. Okay, so that's your photo etch. So next we will have a look at the biggest sprue, which is the body of the tank. The hull, turret, engine cover, gun. For want of a better word, I'm going to call it the tail. So these, you'll see on French tanks, they were designed to assist the tank in crossing ditches and trenches. Okay, bottom of the turret and the tools. Okay, so that's what's on that one. Let's have a look at the detail. So I did do a review of a Heller H35, which had no cast detail at all on the hull or the turret. This one, because it's a later, much later kit by Bronco, has really fine cast texture on the turret and on the hull. Okay, so that's really nice. A little bit of flash on the bottom of the hull, but not too bad. This particular part and these are not used in this kit, they're for another variant. Exhaust pipe, so the detail is really nice, really crisp, lots of small parts. Tools are perfect, so I like those. Yep, so that's good. That's a nice one. That's the main sprue. Next sprue is the running gear. Okay, so you've got your basic wheels, drive sprocket, idler, and engine and gearbox. So there is a bit of detail in the engine, no great deal, but for what you can see, what you will be able to see in this tank, that's really pretty good. So it does have an interior, and I am impressed that such a small tank does have an interior. Okay, detail on the wheels, don't know if you can see it. Drive sprockets, brilliant. Alright, the bolts on the drive sprocket are really good, and some very fine teeth. Okay, so natural enough you'll get stills to have a look at. Anyway, alright. Alright, so what's next is small sprue. These bottom parts here are not used. This is the front of the hull. Again, it has got a cast texture on it. I can feel it with my fingernail, so that's pretty good. And you've got your mudguards. Okay, a couple other spare sprockets and hatches. So that's that particular sprue. So there isn't a great deal to this tank. Next sprue is another small one. So this you'll be using, and these are of course your main gun. This is your German hatch. So if you're going to use make a German variant, this is it. So basically, the Germans cut the top off that and put two hatches on. That's all they did. Fairly simple bit of mechanical work, but it made it easier for the commander to pop his head up. Otherwise, in French tanks, if you wanted a good view, you opened the back hatch, which left you open to all sorts of small arms fire. Okay. Okay, and last is these two sprues, exactly the same. Put that one aside. So there you have it. These are your track links, quite small, fiddly. You will need patience to put this together, but it will make for a very detailed track on this little tank. So that's pretty good. So overall, that's pretty good. So overall, no flash, very minimum cleanup on this tank. Typical Bronco quality. I love it. The detail and how much effort they put in is awesome. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this review. I hope you got something from it, and until next time, see you later.